Hello there, everyone. So welcome back to my Teaching the Dailies series. Today is going to be level 3. We've done 0, 1, and 2 so far. And level 3, I'm thinking we're going to start getting some more normalized setups. It's not going to be known for ballroom where we're just camp and swap. The spies have, you know, more opportunities to make their own decisions and to really make decisions that could impact the game at a higher level. Level 3, I don't know if we're gonna see anything crazy, like any really good spy games. I hope so, so I can talk about them. But with like the games increasing in difficulty and with the levels increasing, I'm gonna have a lot more stuff to analyze after the game and to draw attention to. The spies should be a lot more interesting as well, so I can hopefully explain some plays that get seen in these games. But yeah, we have a pretty normal setup here on high rise. I think that this is just like one of the standard modes, like standard modes, because I think it's called Spy Rise, which it is, yeah. So, but anyways, as we get higher and higher up the levels, I'm probably going to be playing closer to how would be playing in an actual competitive game. Uh, I feel like for the last few levels, I've just been kind of watching what I want to watch, just watching hard tells, but that's not actually like how I play. So I hope I'll be able to like kind of demonstrate what I'm looking at and like what I'm memorizing like in the games as we get harder and harder. I don't think level 3 or 4 should be a big problem, but like I feel like level 5 and on, I'm gonna need to like split my attention, explaining what I'm doing, and then hopefully like actually putting effort into you know getting things right in the game, so that way it's more of a good, it's a better experience for you guys. But anyways, I'm gonna get into it here. So, what do I do on any standard setup when I'm playing just by myself and I'm not talking? Well, I'm mainly focusing on, the early game because you can do a lot of missions early game. People can instantly bug, because keep in mind in the standard mode you can walk and bug. Um, there's going to be like statue swaps I might have to watch, so I still need to memorize statues. That's nothing changed. People could purloin early, they could microform early. So there's a lot of stuff to be watching at the beginning of the game, and I'm mainly just going to be splitting my attention among those things. So I'm going to try my best to explain what I'm looking for at any given point. Um, but I will also have to split my attention so that I can memorize these things as well. But yeah, mostly after the time of chaos or like the first 20 seconds of the game has passed, um, things can things get pretty easy. Like they're not like as hard to watch. Like when time of chaos is going on, everything is just so fast paced. So I think that's all I wanted to cover. All right. So let's get into the game here. Obviously, my first attention is going to go to the ambassador, and then it's probably going to go to statues slash purloin, and then if I have time, I'll look at who's at the bookcases. All right. So let's go. And I also wanted to say that I'm still going to be keeping an eye out for etiquette things. So if I see something, I'll mention it. All right. So highlight the ambassador, highlight Toby, go. All right. So Irish. Okay. So the ambassador is safe, so I can start automatically zooming around. It also looks like Toby is going to be offering her drink to Irish, the ambassador first. So if she takes a drink, I'll have to be watching for the fingerprint. And she does. I also want to keep note that Smallman and James Bond look like they might be flirting with each other. All right. So Sorry was at the green bookcase. I had just kind of memorized statues pretty quickly. Since the only person at them was Smallman, I'm not paying too much attention. All right, and we see Disney Bug. So there's the spy. We will shoot him. And he also did Purloin as well. And I had the Purloin. I was still watching it. I just hadn't really checked it yet because after the ambassador, or because the ambassador was in trouble. So like, what was I watching right here? I'll rewind for a little bit. So right here, you can kind of see that like all right, hold on. Let's go back. So here we see that Disney takes a drink, and he's the only person after Irish has taken a drink. So I knew that he was like the next in the chain, so I just kind of had that in the back of my mind. And then from the spy side, or from the sniper side, we could see that Irish ends up going next to like a couple people, and instead of trying to zoom in and freak out about the purloin or freak out about any of the other things on the left side of the venue, I decided to watch the ambassador so I could have peace of mind that no bug has gone off. and we are rewarded for it, of course, because we found the spy. And you see Disney lean down. But let's say you missed the bug. Obviously, you can see that Purloin has been taken, and since Disney was in the offer, you should have been looking at whoever got offered anyways, because of the fingerprint. So there was much more attention on the ambassador and that side of the venue because of Purloin, that fingerprint on the drink, a small the center of statues, and Irish is right next to somebody who could bug her. So that's where all the visual clumping went in. So that's where my attention went, and we got the spy. So let's just keep watching the game. So yeah, that's what we saw, and we shot here. That's already two missions down. We got like a half one to go, and then keep in mind that flirt and contact are already free. But it looks like the spy is going to be picking up the briefcase. So let's see if he does correct etiquette. Okay. So let me pause right here so I can talk about this. The briefcase is a very touchy subject, and I don't really want to get into that too heavily. I'd almost rather like address it in a separate video. Um, but let's just talk about let's just talk about briefcase for a little bit here. So what happens when the spy, or what even is the briefcase, right? Why do we need the briefcase? Well, the briefcase's only purpose for the spy is to, of course, have a fingerprint on it. So it works like all the other things that can be fingerprintable, like a drink or a book. But you have to do some stuff. So first of all, in a completely normal bookcase or in a completely normal briefcase return, you pick up the briefcase, you walk behind the ambassador, and you just return it. And you have to walk behind them, so you have to go behind the ambassador. So like an exception would be like if you can't go behind the ambassador, you kind of have to stop once you notice that. So it's kind of hard to explain, but like I said, I'm gonna eventually get into it in another video, so I don't want it to take too much attention here. But just in this case, why would I have shot the spy right here as well? So typically, the spy cannot, cannot take a briefcase when it's right next to the ambassador because it is a hard tell. You have to wait until the ambassador is far enough away from the briefcase. And how far away? Probably about a conversation circle length, to be safe. As long as it looks like it's a good distance and it's not obviously like a spy trying to get an easy print, you're probably fine. But yeah, so what would have been what's the correct etiquette here? Before I even watch what the spy does. So already he messed this up, but once he has it, the ambassador is not moving, so he should just walk behind the ambassador, return it, and then walk away somewhere else. So let's see if he does that. All right, so the ambassador moves. So now we just need to sit here until we either just drop it or until the ambassador goes far enough away from us, and then we follow her to return it. So let's see what happens. All right, and we just put it down, and that's okay. So yeah, the only etiquette thing that I think that was broken there was that we just took the briefcase when it was too close to her. So yeah, that's good etiquette. All right, I'm assuming contact or flirt. You have 2.5 minutes on the clock here. If I was a spy, I would just flirt it out, but contact's much quicker. So, and there's the contact, and there's the win. So yeah, that was a quick spy game. That was actually really nice. That was just a quick spy win in like a minute 30. So that's nice. But yeah, the bug was pretty obvious. The pearling was obvious. Prince and the briefcase were a hard tell. So, um, yeah, I think that there was too much of a calculated guess to say that this was the spy. And the banana bread right in as we enter conversation also doesn't look good. So behaviorally, I would have my alarm bells would have been ringing really hard, even just after that. So, okay. So basically a normal aquarium setup, except there's 5 minutes on the clock instead of the usual 4 minutes. So same thing. I'm not gonna repeat this every single game, so I'll just say it more time. But ambassador, make sure ambassador's safe. Then kind of watch statues and the purloin, and then if that's there's not enough stuff going on over there, then we can start watching the books. So same thing. Let's get into it. This one's a bar venue, so it's gonna be a little harder to watch. You have to memorize the bar guests. So we'll see how that goes. I still highlight for statues on bar venues because I rely on my memory or my behavioralism. All right, so let's go. Highlight the ambassador. All right, so B-A-H-A. So Baha, B-A-H-A. All right, so the ambassador looks pretty safe, so I'm going to start looking at the purloin to make sure nothing's going off. And we see that white dress takes one. We see that Alice goes to statues. And then I was also watching text was at the bottom left bookcase. Yeah, so right now I'm just kind of still watching the ambassador. And I'm just watching to see who takes the purloins. Or who takes the guests, or the drinks, sorry. So I can keep track of purloin. Okay, so far just Duke, white dress, and Rocker has a print. Alice takes a book path that I couldn't really see behind the shark. Twin is on the left bookcase. So now I'm watching Rocker and white dress's position in the conversations. All right, and then obviously we have HB and AA on the right sides, so we have all the statues memorized. Smallman doesn't go near. I'm sure white dress's purloin is worn off. All right, so Bling Twin, or yeah, Bling Twin with the drink. I couldn't tell if that was an animation break from text or if that was just red dress like really close. But I think it was just red dress was really close. So Alice has a drink and so does Bling Twin. This would be a good banana bread. I'm expecting
Banana
one.
bread.
Yep. And so now I'm still kind of watching near the ambassador, but I'm also watching the conversations to see who kind of goes to bar next to somebody, because then that would mean like they would get delegated. So Smallman with the drink now. General goes to statues. There's no person I'm like really suspicious of a lot right now. I think that could have been a bug from Smallman, so I'm just gonna watch him. The shark's going around, so hopefully I'm not missing anything. I think that most of the prolines have kind of expired now. I think it's only Kane. All right, so Tex straight up takes a drink, so I know Smallman didn't do anything, and Kane didn't have a drink before that. And we break etiquette. Okay, so I'll explain this shot real quickly. So how did I find this shot? I obviously saw the purloin. I was kind of keeping track of it. So the shot was basically me just being on top of purloin for the most part. But the reason why I shot at that particular moment was because I noticed that Tex, I think, drank too fast in the conversation circle. So I'm just gonna double check to make sure that that's the case. I just felt like it was way too soon. Like I just saw him at the bar, and he just saw him like went into the conversation. Yeah, and he didn't wait a whole idle cycle. So whenever you go into a conversation circle or like you get a drink from like Toby, like say on like a tray venue, where he's walking around with the tray, you cannot just immediately start sipping it right as you get into conversation. You have to wait a whole idle animation. So I'm gonna go with the interactive spy camera, which is number 4. And I'll show you the front of him, and you can see how he wasn't relaxed. So now he's going into his first cycle, and you can see how quickly he just decided to eat the cupcake or to drink a drink. The cupcakes are just from like some older games, so don't worry about that. It's the same thing as drinks. Um, so yeah, my shot was mainly for the purloin because I knew Smallman couldn't have done it. I knew most of the purloins were expiring. I could have waited because he did go to statues earlier on in the game, but I was pretty sure they just got into conversation and was already drinking. So yeah. And he also gulped. He also gulped the drink or chomped the cupcake, it says. So, yeah. All right, so let's just watch the rest of the game here. Looks like a bug. Oh no, we're gonna almost finish up Seduce. Oh, nice green test. It's a great green test. But yeah, so now there's like a minute and a half on the clock. We just need one inspect and we need seduce. So if it was me, like I probably would just go do the inspects, just get them over with, and then do the seduce, and then just finish. Which it looks like we're doing, which is nice. So good idea by the spy. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's crazy how like a step up, these like level 0 through 2, and then you go to level 3, and then suddenly people, are coming up with like some like decent plans. Of course, they don't know everything about the game yet, but that's what I'm here for. And now, if you haven't shot him, you're probably not going to shoot him unless you're really suspicious of him flirting with wheels. And we're going to instant talk on this conversation, it looks like. And that's just going to be game over. So good job to the spy. But yes, so what led to that win? Well, we were on top of Purloin, and then we saw an etiquette break once we kind of had a suspect. So nothing crazy there. All right, so let's go to the next one. Highlight the ambassador and watch the usual suspects: statues, Purloin, and then books. So go. So we have Red Dress as the ambassador. I don't see any early bug opportunities. Okay, so we have B, A, A. Okay, so two sets of same statues on the right side, so double A, and we also have B, A. And Disney's the only offer, and now I can look at bookcases. So I'm looking at bookcases, and I'm also maybe looking at potential time matters. Okay, there's a print available. We see teal redirect off of the green bookcase, which was good. So I'm watching the ambassador. I still don't ever. Yep. Okay. Like I said, in most games, you just always want to be watching the ambassador because they're kind of like the #1 threat to your game because it takes 1.5 seconds for you to look away from them for someone to get a bug and then it's over. So whenever someone starts pathing towards the ambassador, my eyes go immediately to the ambassador. And we also saw that when Sari went to the green bookcase, she doesn't take a book. That's a hard tell. You can't do that. Um, So yeah. So and then what about the rest of the party? Well, I had two people who were already at the bar. I already knew that Disney got a drink. I knew Irish got a drink, and so I was watching books and the statues on the right side just because I felt like I had the time to. The spy wasn't really, I feel like the spy wasn't rushing or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just watching the game here. I don't see a reason to really analyze it, or I don't see a reason to shoot them just yet. I'll shoot them when I feel like they've finished missions. They're gonna go in for statues here, I'm assuming. Yep. Okay. That's a good amount of time to wait. Let's see if they follow the etiquette. All right, didn't wait for the blink. So yeah, too fast of a put down, but the wait before and after seems correct. So that was good. And since I already know that they did statues once, they're probably gonna end up going and doing it again. I'm assuming they have bugs seduce at most right now. They still need to do like 3 more missions besides those two. So I'm not really in any hurry to shoot them right now. Okay, there's a second inspect. Immediate etiquette break. I don't know what that was. That must have been a misclick. Yeah, we'll shoot. Probably the fourth mission. Yeah, they didn't have Seduce yet, but obviously I don't really watch Seduce, so not that I could know that. All right, but that was a good game by the spy. I mean, I think that if the sniper wasn't watching this bug, that was a good bug opportunity. And there was stuff going on at the bar, but you see like how Irish is just getting offered a drink here. Like I was able to kind of suspend watching that side of the party for a little bit because I knew what was going on over there, and all of my visual clumping was on the right side of the venue from the sniper's perspective. But anyway, yeah. So after the swap, it looks like we go in for a contact. There's a lot of etiquette breaks here, like a lot of like animation breaking and stuff in conversation, but obviously that's not really completely the spy's fault because they're under the gun now with only a minute left to go. And it looks like they time out, so they actually don't finish. And they could have been finished, and this is also what I'm going to say. I'm going to comment on the spy's play on the standard mode because I think that the spies, have always have room to improve, but I think that you guys can learn from it as well. So right here when they go for the swap, is I would have just inspected. I don't really care. Yes, you got a white swap, but chances are if they're watching it, you are dead anyway. Most people aren't gonna miss just a random inspect. And see how you went for 2 cycles anyways? The spy went for 2 cycles anyways, which means that you could have just finished inspects. You didn't need to just leave them there. And look, it would have helped you massively later on in the game because you would have been done with missions. And while you have a highlight at the end of this game, you still would have at least gotten the mission win countdown. But yeah, so just got another bug, and it seems like a lot of these lower level games, they just like to go right next to the ambassador and just bug, which is totally okay with me. But we can go to the next one. All right, we have a normal gallery setup. It's just standard gallery. So let's get into it. Smallman's the ambassador. We have HHBA, and there's some good potential for some early bugs to go on here, but all right. So I'm watching this. I'm watching Smallman here mainly. There's no people time adding here. I think Teal just rejected a drink though, so I'm still going to be wary of the Purloin. Nope. And then Duke and General were on the right bookcases. Now we're offering to Irish, it looks like. Yep. I don't think I don't think any bugs has I don't think any bugs have gone off, but I could be wrong because there was definitely some moments where people could have bugged and I just might have missed it because it was hard to see. And sometimes on gallery you'll find that. All right, so Buns rejects a drink. I also will admit I'm not completely on top of Prince here. That was a pretty slow stop by Sorry there. I don't know if I like that completely. Okay, takes a drink, so the chain resets. All right, so there's now is a print at the first statue, and I think there might be a difficult on the briefcase. I'm not sure. All right, Sorry's getting offered. Let's watch Sorry because I think I saw that conversation stop at the center was too slow. Nope, she doesn't take a drink. And now there's also a print at the first statue. Okay, so Tex rejects. And I'm watching General. I'm watching this front conversation here, but I'm also watching Purloin. So I see Buns is being offered to. Okay, Rocker might have a bug. All right. So yeah, now I'm still trying to pay attention to Purloin mainly. Um, I missed where Wheels got the book from. I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, right now I'm mainly just watching the Purloin. I'm also maybe watching for time ad too. So I don't know. I feel like the spy's been kind of slow. I haven't really been seeing the progress. All right, I have no idea if Wheels is from the correct book. I don't think that that's from the correct bookcase, but I wouldn't know. So I'm just gonna highlight him, and if he does anything weird or suspicious, I'll pay attention. There's still prints on the first statue, by the way, so I'm still keeping that in mind. I could potentially lose here, but I don't think I'm not on top of anything. Disney's getting offered to right now. Sorry is on the right bookcase. I'm still a little sus of Sorry from the beginning, but if she's a spy, I'll explain why later. Okay, Tex. Or Twin, sorry. Looked like it was going to be the Tex, but it's actually the Twin, and he doesn't take. So now it's the Tex, and I'm watching the front conversation. It's probably a good time for a banana bread, so I'm kind of also looking to see if it's outside of conversation. But now there's no DA in, so things are getting a little stressful for the spy here. I don't have the progress, so I don't have any progress here. All right, Plane Twin could be finishing Prince and Inspect at the same time, but he doesn't have a fourth mission.
Banana bread.
All right, and there's a banana bread, and there's only one person in conversation with the DA that I'm suspicious of. So if it beeps, I'm shooting wheels. And yes, there is no mission completion. And so why? How am I able to hold this game? So it feels like things were kind of ramping up at the end there. Like, oh, Twins maybe finishing inspects, and there's just a lot of things going wrong. Potentially for the sniper. Well, Fingerprints, I was almost kind of confident no one was done. There wasn't a lot of people that were visiting statues. As you can see, I only have 3 highlights on my statues there. Those are my 3 highlights on my statues, which was, I think, Plain Twin, Kane, and Teal. Plain Twin was finishing up Inspecs and Prince at the end of the game potentially. I don't know if he had another Print, but I would have had to credit that. And then if I really thought he was finishing, he could have swapped it there at the end. But that would have been all paranoia. And if I heard the beeping, maybe I would have shot him. But luckily, we get bailed out because there is a banana bread at the end, and there's only one person. There's only one conversation with the yellow triangle. So I'm going to show this at the end here. There's only one conversation with the yellow triangle here. And so there's only one conversation here with the yellow triangle, and there's 5 people in there, and Wheels is the only potential person who I think I was a little bit sus of. But I don't think he had any other mission progress, so yeah, I wasn't completely sus of him. But yeah, so I wasn't really that suspicious of Wheels because I didn't have a fourth mission. And normally when I say I don't have a fourth mission, it means that I I already credit him for Seduce, and he just finished Contact, so that's 2 missions. And then potentially Microfilm was his third, but what's the fourth one? I don't think he had a bug. I was watching that pretty well. Purloin hasn't been taken. Prince, I really don't feel like anyone had Prince. He never been to statues or swap, or then he couldn't have swap. So yeah, it just couldn't be Wheels. And obviously there was no overtime beeps, so I was right. And yeah, the spy had no mission progress. He had a green book in his hand and 85% on the flirt. So he just idled for 4 minutes, and yeah, so we just held. Nothing too crazy there. I've seen way crazier gallery games where the AI are much more active, but that one we got lucky because Taft was just completely just stationary. So, but okay, we have another. This is the standard aquarium setup I was talking about earlier. It's 19 guests, 4 minutes. While I think the competitive setups can normally be like 21 guests in 4 minutes, but I think the standard mode Keel Hall is just 19 guests. So, all right, but yeah, let's get going. HBBB, we're watching the ambassador to make sure that there's no crazy bugs that are happening. And then BB and HB. So HB are on the diagonals and BB are on the diagonals. So HB and then BB
Banana
diagonals.
bread.
Okay, banana bread. I'm highlighting all these 3 lowlights here. All right, the party is already really low. Um, and this is purely because of my lowlights. When people are outside conversation circles, you're allowed to lowlight them when you hear a BB go off. Remember that on the diagonals of this, BB, and on the other diagonals, we have HB. So statues are really easy to memorize. We have a redirect by Disney, which was nice. Um, we have Bling Twin on the right or on the right drink, or on the right bookcase, sorry. All right, Rocker just took a drink. Plain Twin wasn't ever at the bar, and I don't know about any of the other non-highlights, so we'll just watch Rocker. All right, there we go. We found the spy. It is Rocker, so we'll shoot her feet. Okay, and like I said, I am liable to missing stuff. However, I was taking some liberties because I have a million highlights in my party. I'm not really worried about much. So I got a little lackadaisical there. I got a little lackadaisical there, but it's okay. And then yeah, the bug was just over here. But to my perspective, basically all those people at the bar are low lit. The shark's going across. So let's see. Let's see this startup bug. Like let's see why I didn't wasn't really paying attention to this that much. I was looking at Twin at the bar. Yeah, so I think mainly I was just looking at Twin at the statues. I meant to say statues earlier. Yeah, so I think I was looking at Twin at the statues. So that's why I missed the bug. I think I was just looking at statues. I didn't need to be looking at statues because he doesn't have a fourth mission. But yeah, here there's only 1 minute off the clock. Seduce can't be done that quickly, and I was ready to watch Rocker do anything and shoot her because I was 99% positive no one else could have purloined. Okay, but why do I shoot here though? I'm gonna show you, and I'll let you take a guess yourself. So we'll play from here. All right, I'll let it play from here, and you guys can go ahead and guess, and I'll explain, and I'll tell you the right answer. Why? It wasn't that. I missed that. I missed the pad miss, but it's okay. Okay, so before we watch her swap and win the game, um, I shot because remember, you cannot gulp a drink, or you cannot go to a statue pad or any pad, such as like a bookcase pad, unless unless you have one sip left in your drink. Remember, spies cannot gulp and they will only sip their drink. Remember, when you take a drink, you get 3 sips, right? You could sip at the bar, you could go sip in maybe, a window pad, and then you can go to another like statue pad or like bar again or something, but you're not allowed to only sip once at the bar, and I think she only sipped once as a bar. And then you can't go sip once at the bar and then go to a statue pad because you have 2 sips left, meaning that you'll sip and then your drink won't be finished, and it's a hard tell because no AI does that. They're always going to finish the drink on their pad on a pad. So, yeah, so I shot because I was like, well, you just came from the bar. You can't possibly go to statues with a drink in your hand because that's not possible. There's a discrepancy there. You had either had to drink your whole drink at the bar because I saw her take one, or you would have had to just ignore the gulp etiquette at the statues. So, and obviously both of those can't be true at the same time. And so one of them's true though, because that's just how it goes when you go from bar straight to statues. So yeah, that's how I shot the spy there. And I also heavily credited with the Purloin. If for some reason she had seduced somehow and was just the craziest, fastest flirter I've ever seen and I lost, that would have been my fault for not just shooting the Purloin because I should have been more on top of it. But and it made it make sense, right? Like the BB happened so early that like obviously no one could have a Purloin, but I make mistakes too. All right, we get another aquarium game, so we'll just go again. HABH. Alice is the first one at the bar, so we'll watch her. And then HH and BA. So HABH, and BA. And remember, Alice is the first one. Okay, Salmon does a really good reject. Now, I know I'm playing against a lower level player, and that's probably not what a lower level player would do, but it's okay. We'll still act as if. I'm watching the swap here. I don't know if this is a green swap or not, so I'm looking. It's not. Okay. White Dress is that green bookcase too, by the way. Seek has a reject, I'm assuming. So, yeah, so right now I have Plain Twin, Seek, and Alice in the Purloin chain. Rocker is now finishing Inspecs. Ah, okay, I see. I just noticed the swap over there. Remember, it was BA, and who was over there? Well, it was Rocker. Remember that Wheels and Irish were at that statue over there, and then remember that Twin and Buns were over at this one over here. So they can be low light, and who's our only low light? Rocker. And so there's your 6 game one. And it looks like they're about to win very shortly here. So we saw the beginning of the game. Obviously, they went to 2 sets of statues. They have contact. Let's see how they end the game. So we're just gonna go and fast forward because I'm assuming they just really basically go to their next mission. Seduce. Oh, but then I see a gulp somewhere. Yep, gulp. Gulped the drink. Oh, but this is fair because let's say that like they missed the statue and the insects weren't really that suspicious. I think it's good to always like kind of. I mean, I don't think it's always gonna do it, but like it's a good idea to gulp the drink before you send somebody to the bar, just in case the sniper is like their knee-jerk reaction is like, oh well, who has a drink? Like I don't know, I don't remember who's been to bar. So in case they forget, it's a good idea to gulp. So I like this play. So yeah, the last mission was Purloin. I don't see any egregious etiquette breaks. The gulp I've done in my games, like you're not allowed to do stuff. It's just if you get caught. So it's like don't cheat unless you're not gonna get caught. So good game. That was a nice logical game. Okay, we have our 4 of 8 setup on high rise, and remember that our setup earlier on Spyrise was 3:45. This one has less time. So we have Gabriel, who's actually a member of the community who I've played a couple times. And yeah, let's snipe his level 3 game. Go. All right, so highlight the ambassador, HA, and I'm watching Bug here. All my possible threats are over here, so I'm watching them. I don't think Queen has a bug, and there's a drink taken, and Alice didn't swap, so we're all good there. So Purloin's fresh. I don't remember what these statues were, so I have to credit Salmon with a swap later on. Okay, Twin just took a drink, but the list is still there. Uh, Salmon just took a wild path. Let's watch the fade in case it's a swap. All right, there we go. That is a green fade, and so we can shoot Alice. Now, remember I talked about it in my level 2 daily, the dailies, teaching the dailies video, um, that the different fades for the statues in Purloin look different. And so if it looks like somebody is going to a statue that someone has just been to, you're able to, watch it. So yeah, you're able to watch stuff, and you're able to watch the fade. So I'll show it again. I'll do the free camera. All right, so let's watch. Let's see what I saw. See how it instantly changes to the other statue, whereas like if Salmon was the one that was swapping the statue, it would kind of like not like really slowly, but it would slowly fade into the other statue. And also, I wanted to point out too that you probably noticed that I saw this, but Salmon did something really, really, really weird when he walked over to here. So what happened? Look, watch his path right here. So if a newer player saw that, and it's what I have been talking about, they're like, well, Asta, like, didn't you say that like if it looks like they missed the pad, like that's the spy? And it is. However, this is a special case where like this is an AI getting called to the statue, so they kind of drop what they're doing and they go pick it up and to swap the statue, right? So he landed at the other statue, but then he realized that, but then the game said, oh no, there's a green test here, so you need to go swap this statue. So he swapped it. And so now if you're keeping track of the mission count, let's say that you missed this, but you noticed that the swap was gone. Well, okay, congrats. You have it down to 2. You just have Salmon and Alice. But we notice that Alice kind of is a little busy, right? Like she has a blue book at some point in the game. She has the 2 inspects. I don't think the sniper from the original game really noticed the swap, but anyway. Yeah, so it has the 2 inspects. Okay, and then, yeah, so we also hit a bug somewhere. And look at this bug. So in the original game, the sniper is rotating around to see it, and bugs are always harder to see if you're moving your camera. So try if you're really trying to watch for a bug, just don't move. So yeah, so you can see that that was a bug, and then the microphone's done, and Gabriel finds his win. But the sniper hated it. You can see from the sniper absolutely hated that. It was about to shoot him, but he got away with it. So yeah, that was just about being on top of all your missions, and it worked out for us yet again. And so now we're on to our 8th and final game, where we are on 4 of 7 pub. And so just to reiterate one last time, I'm going to watch the ambassador, do statues, look at people who are at Purloin, and then I'm going to watch for fingerprints or for time ads. There's no bookcase here, so pub's a little easier to watch and everything's more out in the open. All right, let's get this last win here. Go. So we have BA, and Irish is the first offer. Teal is the first statue inspector. I'm watching the time on the clock, so it's at like 3:20 right now. And there's been no bug from Wheels. And right now we just have Irish and Salmon. So Irish and Salmon are the only two. All right. And we have our final win, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to just kind of pan around like this for a little bit until you kind of pick out the spy. I'll give you a hint. The spy is the only person that I have highlight. They're gonna BB here. Go ahead, Teal. Go ahead and banana bread. Oh, but the double agent leaves. So now we're gonna follow the double agent. You see, once you kind of know who the spy is, it's more obvious. So now they're gonna instantly BB because they're scared of the
Banana
TA
bread.
leaving again, and we can shoot them for our 8th win. Okay, but yet again, I want to point out another mistake from the spy, and you could probably guess but it's the same one from Modern. So why do I hate this? Why do I hate this? Why do I hate this game? Like, what do I hate about this game? Well, because this BB is now meaningless, right? You could have been done with missions if you swapped and then did an inspect. But instead, the spy decides to hurry up and put the statue back and just walk away to go to the bar. Also, they requested and also demanded a bar. So AI will never demand a drink from the bar. Demand just basically lets you skip everybody in line. So if two people get to bar before you and already requested a drink, you can demand a drink, and then Toby will offer to you next. But anyway, you can't request and demand a drink in the same when you're at the same spot. That's just not allowed, and demanding is not even allowed. So it was obvious to me that this was a spy. But I noticed the statue before I even noticed this. So after I noticed the statue and then I saw Teal do this, it was glaringly obvious. But for most people, like if you just notice a swap, because there was also like no one else at the statue but Teal, and Teal is the only highlight, and since I'm only highlighting for statues, well then it's forced to be Teal because she's the only highlight that I have. So logically, it can't be anyone else. So you see like these games, they're not all just like freak out and try to cover every mission. Like you kind of have to rely on your highlights and your memory and your kind of just overall sense of the party to kind of net you the win. You don't have to just sit there and watch one thing and be like, oh no, I missed this thing, I deserve to lose. Like you can watch everything and still kind of have a general sense of the game and still have a general sense of the spy's progress. For example, on Gallery, like I wasn't completely on top of everything, but I had a general sense that like, yeah, I don't feel like the spy is doing that much. So I simply just kind of, held out. But yeah, so and then this game ended. Let's see, so they immediately did contact and then purloin swap and then just a bug. So yeah, and that's a nice bug. See, a bug will take a lot of the time. That looked like a walking bug transitioned into a standing bug. So you will see that, let's see that from the sniper side. It would have been glaringly obvious, but let's just watch Teal do it anyway. And you watch the snapback of the arm, and that's how you know that she bugged. So that's that. So let's say you missed all that, but you caught the bug. Congrats. You would have caught her right there. But yeah, the Perlin was also just a straight up take. And if you've been watching, I think we had Irish who was at the bar, and I believe Salmon was at the bar too. I don't remember who else was at the bar. Yeah, Salmon. Yeah, so I think Irish Salmon, right? Yeah, it was Irish salmon. So yeah, I think that it was too early for them to even purloin anyway. So because remember, I think Irish went right to like the window pad to get the briefcase. All right, but I think that's everything I wanted to cover in this game. I don't see anything else interesting. I did shoot. I shot here. Just I feel like there's a lot of behavioral tells in this game that Teal was the spy. So even if I missed some stuff, I might have been a little suspicious of Teal if I if I somehow missed this swap in the purloin. But yeah, Teal just was very obviously the spy. I feel like in a lot of ways. But yeah, let's view our results. We got 8 out of 8 that time. And those were some really good games. I think that those were the most interesting and fun games. It just shows you how interesting Spy Party can get when you kind of dive into the deep end of the game because the spy games definitely get way more competitive and way more intense. It's not just going to be catch an easy swap and then they do a bunch of things that like allow me to believe that it's them. Sometimes you'll see a swap, but then you're like, oh, well, I missed the fade because I was watching other things. It's a 50-50. And then you also have to question like whether or not they have a fourth mission, a fifth mission. It just gets intense. It gets intense. There's depth, and you just have to be on top of everything. And sometimes even go into the dark arts of like pathing, so to speak. All right, but I think I'm going to end it there. Thanks everyone who stuck around until the end. These were probably the best games that we've had so far and most interesting, and I was able to cover a lot. So I hope you all got something from the analysis of everything. And I will see you guys later. See you for level 4. All right.